Say. It has to be minor key. Okay. Gewalt. We're starting the second piece on page 25 in this book. Feeling the pain of destruction. Gewalt. Feeling the pain of destruction. Right. This coming Shabbos is Shabbos Mevarchim of Chodesh Av. Already? Unbelievable. Chodesh Av is 2 Wednesdays from now. We're going to have a Hallel and a Suda. Hashem. It's going to be turned into complete joy. So, feeling the pain of destruction. Tisha B'Av is the day of the destruction of the temple. The strangest thing in the world is that there's no house in the world that is so completely rebuilt like the destroyed temple. Oops. Sorry. One day I'll learn how to use this thing. Oh, it's my wife calling. 1 second. Dinner, I'm in the middle of teaching. Is everything okay? Hello? I'm in the middle of teaching just. Is everything okay? If you need to. I'll find a way there. I'll find my way there. No, I'm going to need to come home because I left things at home. I have to... there are a few specific things I can't describe it to you now in the middle of teaching it. But that's what I was expecting to do. Yeah, it's fine. You can do that. I hope so. Okay. Okay, it's okay. Whatever it is. Whatever it is. It's fine. Okay, love you. Okay, bye. No problem. Okay.
I'm so glad that there were not telephones like this when Shlomo was
I know,
living.
can you imagine? You would have been on the phone
You
like...
would have had about 6 and 8 would have been somewhere else.
Let me turn the ringer off. So yeah, so it's a good thing I heard from my wife, but yeah, I have to go home to Beit Shemesh and then drive an hour.
So you have to leave even earlier now, right?
I mean, I have to take a different bus because she's leaving the car and whatever. Okay, well, Hashem, should be worse problems.
I permit you
Yeah.
to go early. You get an early mark.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you. Okay. So, but this thing, what that phone call is about, is related to what we're learning, because destruction right now, it's manifest as destruction. But someone's going to say, even after the temple is rebuilt, Hashem will maintain the brokenness in it. What does that mean? What does that mean? Why would we want that? What is that about? Right? This is a big nakuda of where he's going in this chapter. That there's something forever about the pain. There's the pain, the negativity of it is on the outside, but the panemius of the pain is not a bad thing. The panemius of the pain is a connection. You have to understand what that means. What does that mean? How could that possibly be? So, an image of this, I always like going back to the Kodesh HaKodashim. The Holy of Holies, you have these two kruvim that are looking at each other. So the Gemara in Bava Basra, Daf Tzadik Tes, page 99, it says there's a couple of opinions. One is that they're looking at each other when things are good and looking away when not. But then you have a Beraisa from Unculus Hager. Unculus, the great Unculus, the Halakha convert Unculus, who was an amazing person. I'll just tell you a tiny bit about him, that the Gemara brings in Masechtas Sanhedrin some stories about him. He was a real disturber in the holiest way, because he was a high-level Roman. I don't know if he was a general in the army, but he was something chashuv in Roman society. And when he converted, it really, really got the Roman authorities upset. And they sent waves of soldiers, meaning groups of soldiers, one after another, to arrest him. And the trouble is, each time they'd come to arrest him, he would start talking to them, and they would themselves convert to Judaism, because he was so amazing.
We could use him here for some fundraising.
Right? Oh, it's so amazing. He had this gift. He said, like one of them was they came, and he said, "Tell me, when you're serving the Caesar, who sits inside and who sits outside?" And I said, "Well, of course the Caesar sits inside and we sit outside." He says, "Not by us. You see that mezuzah on the door? We sit inside and Hashem sits outside protecting us." He said, and that's how it was also in the desert, the Amud Anan, the column of cloud that protected us. Hashem, because these soldiers were they're following orders, but they're also kind of downtrodden and feeling disrespected by the system. And he would say, God respects you so much, just blow their minds, So, Uncle Hager says that the kruvim were built in a way like a student saying goodbye to his teacher. Mamish, that's what it says. They're like looking at each other and sort of tearing their eyes away, but unable to fully tear their eyes away, like that goodbye moment. And the Marshaz on this says, one of the great commentaries is, but they have to be built exactly the same, the two kruvim. So what does that mean, one's a student, one's a teacher? What it means is two friends who each consider each other to be their teacher, right? And that when they're saying goodbye, they can't tear their eyes away. So what is that about? Chaim, I'm just talking.
Right.
I'm talking outside before we even jump into Shlomo. But what is that about? Is it's a kind of a connectivity with an awareness of time. We have specific time together, right? And there's, as someone's going to speak about, specific time together, and each time is so precious. We don't want to say goodbye to that time. Rabbi Nachman says in davening, when you say the bet of Baruch of the Shemona Esrei, the bet comes and hugs and kisses you and says, "Don't leave me. Don't go to the Reish." You know, you say, "Okay, well, I have to go." And he says a real davening is that when you get to the mem of Shalom, and the Shemona Esrei is still saying the bet. You never say goodbye to every letter, every word, right? Each moment is so precious, and yet there's a finiteness to it, right? So the relationship before creation, everything is all just in this higher abstract perfection, but it's missing the development of relationship. So the brokenness that the Beis Hamikdash will contain is not a brokenness of anything bad. It's just that, wow, okay, this moment is passing and I have to say goodbye to it and go to the next moment. And the next moment's going to be wonderful, but the last moment we have to say goodbye to, right? So that's the kind of brokenness that we bring with us. And Shehu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw it, that going through these 6,000 years of this history with the ups and the downs and all the crazinesses that we're going through, is building our neshamas to be able to have that above time level connectivity and the development within time level of connectivity. And the Beis Hamikdash HaShlishi is going to contain both of these things. Right? So beautiful. Okay. That's just a preface to the thing. So he says, this is what David's question is. The strangest thing in the world is that there's no house in the world that is so completely rebuilt like the destroyed temple. The thing is also backwards. As we experience the destruction temple now, we can also sense, the same way that in the future we'll still sense the brokenness and the goodbye from each previous moment. Now, before that happens, we can also sense there's no house that's as rebuilt as the temple is now, even though we can't see it, because the presence of it, just being at the Kotel, the presence of it is so strong. It's much bigger than, the Rockefeller or Smithsonian or whatever. These things, they'll come, who knows, maybe they'll decide to build something else afterwards. But the Mikdash, it's mamish, that's it. It's the place. Whether you see it or you don't, it is so there. It's even more there than the things that are there. Except that it's not there. It's there in such a strong way, but it also isn't there, right? Shlomo says, now here, open your hearts. If you love someone very much and you don't see them, so you miss them very much. If you come to the place that you always met, let's say you always met under a certain tree, and you come to that tree, and the person you love is not there, it's so hard. Much harder. They're gone, but in a way, they're still there. Right? Like I saw from my friend Ariel Berger said in one of his last meetings, maybe the last time he saw Eli Wiesel, Olav Shalom, his great teacher, and Eli Wiesel said to him, nothing is ever lost. It's a wild thing to say, especially when you're Eli Wiesel. Right? He said, nothing is ever lost. And my friend Ariel, he writes in the book, it's a book called Witness, you would really like the book. He says, nothing? And Eli Wiesel said to him, you want proof? You missed them? Means they're not gone. Right? Gewalt. So when you get to that tree and your friend's not there, it's so hard, they're much harder, they're gone. But in a way, someone says, in a way they are still there. We know that the Holy Temple is destroyed. The feeling is strongest when you stand by the Holy Wall, because there you miss the temple so much. Hashem took us back to Yerushalayim, and Hashem took us back to the Holy Wall because He really believed And very soon, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, Hashem will rebuild the world again and rebuild the Holy Temple. We have to be there. Very important to go to the Kotel. You can't just miss the temple from afar. We have to be there. You have to stand by the holy wall and miss the holy temple, miss the wholeness of the world, miss the wholeness of your own soul. Because it's all the same. The holy temple is just a little mirror of the whole world. When the holy temple is whole, the whole world is whole. When the holy temple is destroyed, the whole world is destroyed. He says, you know what the greatness of our generation is? And here someone says something very deep. He says, at least we can put our finger on it, meaning we know what's wrong with the world. You can actually name, Be'ezus Hashem, what the issues are. That's a very big deal, right? We know what's wrong with the world. We're standing right by the broken down vessels and saying, this has to be corrected, right?
We don't know what wholeness means.
Oh, Chaim. So this is the thing, is that what does it mean to know what wholeness is? Is that the lack itself means that you remember wholeness. It means you remember, even if you never had it all the way. Right? Why would you feel something's lacking if you didn't know? Like, right? We have like your neshama is like a little puzzle piece that's meant to lock in, right? And from what's missing we can know, right? That's the thing. He says, just like we're standing by the kotel, you can stand right there now. It's a big gift. For hundreds of years we were barely able to ever go there. Now, I don't know what percentage of Jews have gone to the kotel. Probably, I don't know, maybe, I hope it's half. I don't know. Of the Jews who are alive in the world, how many Jews have been to the kotel once? I don't know. It's probably a pretty decent number. I don't know, I have no idea. But at least we're able to go there. Generally, if you're Jewish and you want to go to the kotel, you can find a way, right? So, so he's saying that's a physical representation of our ability to go and see what's broken. Also, spiritually, societally, emotionally, what's wrong. We're able to get a little closer. We're more psychologically aware. We have a little more of the words for it. We have people who can help us figure it out, and then daven about it, right? As we're standing by the holy wall in Yerushalayim and saying, Hashem, what can we do? What can you do? This Tisha B'Av should wake up everything holy inside of us, which we didn't even know about. And someone says, amazing, it says, we know we're only using about 5 or 10% of our brain. It's like a scientific fact that most of the brain, we barely even use. Someone says, imagine how little we use of our holiness.
Wow.
What percent of our holiness are we using? It's probably much less. It's maybe even none at all. Almost none at all. On Tisha B'Av, we're not only crying over the destruction of the temple, we're crying over the destruction of every Yid. Exile destroyed us, much more than it destroyed a building. Exile took the best of our kids, the biggest neshamas, the sweetest. They can't find the Beis HaMikdash, they can't find the Holy Temple in Jerusalem or in themselves. The more you understand the destruction of Yerushalayim, the more you understand your own destruction. Here someone says the most amazing thing. In 1963, I had the privilege of being with the Holy Vishnitzer Rebbe in St. Moritz, Switzerland, on Tisha B'Av. And there was a Yiddish who started saying Eicha. And this is barely 20 years after the Holocaust, right? And this Yid is just bawling through Eicha. And the Vishnitzer said, please, make it fast. He wanted to just... The Yiddish didn't make it fast, so the Rebbe replaced him with somebody else to read. At the end of Eicha, everybody was standing around the Vishnitzer, and the Rebbe said, I want you to know, my Holy Father, the Heilig of Yisrael Vishnitzer, was up all night on Tisha B'Av, and he had some Yidden with him who knew some nigunim, some melodies, which were not so sad and not really happy, but in between. They were holy nigunim for Eicha. He said, my father and his chassidim were up all night singing Eicha, but not with the traditional melody, with other nigunim. for whatever reason, maybe because it was so close to the Holocaust, like that Tisha B'Av, he wanted it fast. But he said, my father did it long. Maybe also comforting this Jew who was reading it too slowly. But he said also that his father and the Chassidim did it to other nigunim. Very strange thing. Usually it's like a very traditional thing. You read it with the trop, you read it with the cantillation, you read it with the way it's supposed to be read. But they read it with something that was also not so sad, but not so happy in between. What is going on? What is that? So Shlomo said, I didn't understand why the Rebbe told us this until I found a mind-blowing teaching by the Radomsker Rebbe, the Radomsker, Shlomo Radomsker, the Tiferes Shlomo, amazing sefer. He said, when a son is crying, a good father consoles his son. He says, but what happens when both the father and the son are crying? Wow, right? And then what? If the son is a good son, then for a few moments, he forgets his own pain and tries to console his father. Right? This is Shlomo's understanding what they were doing at night. They're reading it long and not so sad because they're trying to cheer up Hashem a little bit. They're stretching it out and saying it in a way. It's not just about the pain I feel. It's not just about the pain I feel. I'm aware that Hashem is having pain also. Right? And so the nigunim also were these in-between nigunim that, isn't that amazing? It's off the charts. Right? There's a place where we can even in certain ways, in a certain way, like, okay, Tisha B'Av is my day to like feel my pain, right? My pain. And there's definitely something cathartic and beautiful and really important about it, that there is so much pain in the world, and it is so important to go there. Mitzad Sheni, we wanted the guys on this side. Come, yeah. It's fine. V'simcha. What was I in the middle of saying? I lost my train of thought. Wait. It's okay.
Father and son.
The father and son are crying together. Right? What's that?
Focusing on my pain only.
Oh yeah, my pain, right. The Tisha B'Av, Mitzad Echad, we can really get it all out. It's so important to cry it all out. It's very important. Mitzad Sheni, we need to learn from the Vishnitzer Rebbe and from the Radomsker that because Hashem is also crying, so yeah, cry what you need to cry, but also like don't make it just be about me, my pain. Oh, things are so hard, and oh, it's so bad, and just have it be about my own pain. Let yourself go to a place of Hashem's pain. Incredible idea, Shalom. Let yourself go to that deeper place where you, as Hashem's child, you are a nechama. When you go to a Shiva house, a proper Shiva house, what I mean by proper is where a grandparent passes away, where things are kaseder, So it's still unbelievably sad, and the parents, no matter how old. I remember when my father's father passed away, my father became an orphan, even though he was 60 whatever years old. Doesn't matter. When your parent dies, that's your mommy, that's your daddy. But the children are a comfort. The children are a comfort to their parents when they're mourning their parents, right? Also because the children are a continuation of the grandparents, right? And so with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have to realize, yeah, I'm wallowing in my pain, and there's a level of that's good. You should go there for Tisha B'Av, really feel the pain every night, by Chatzos, feel the pain. But then remember, you are a little nechamala for Hashem. You're the Hashem's son, Tachter. You being around here, you walking around, the sound of your footsteps around Yerushalayim are Menachem Hashem. Realize that. Realize that. Yeah, there's such pain. There's the things that are really worth crying about, and we're heading somewhere, right? And Hashem feels it even worse than we do. Hashem feels it even worse than we do. On Tisha B'Av, we're sad because of what happened to the temple, which really means on Tisha B'Av we're becoming sad because of what happened to ourselves. But it's even worse. The truth is, on Tisha B'Av we are crying, and God is crying as well. The Radomsker says that real people forget for a moment their own pain, and they mamish pretend to be happy for just a few minutes in order to make it easier on their Father in heaven, because the destruction was hardest on Him. Unbelievable. Only we felt God's pain. An amazing place Shlomo's taking us. Right? Not just you going into a black hole on Tisha B'Av. It's you in a context. You with Hashem, with all the rest of Am Yisrael, and with a role. And part of your role is you are a piece of consolation. You, each of us. Just that we're here. Am Yisrael Chai, Od Avinu Chai. It's amazing. It's part of the situation. You're in the Shivas. We're all crying. But also, we're each a piece of Nechama. Yeah. Yeah.
I know, like, that's what you're saying. It's beautiful. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it just reminded me of, like, the grandparents, like, after the Holocaust, like, telling the grandchildren, you're a comfort.
Right. It could be too much.
Go up for it.
It could be too much. Yeah, it could be too much.
It's
Right?
almost like, okay, bigger than that. Like, I'm trying to tell Hashem, like, I don't want to be representative of light in the world. I want you to be the light. Stop hiding.
So good. So first of all, you have to say
I
that
want
to
to be
him.
your comfort. Like,
First of all, say that to him. There's a lot. This whole thing of holding these layers and nuances in our relationship with Hashem, right? There's a lot of this going on, you know. Hashem has a lot of roles, a lot of different hats. He's a Borei Olam. He's a Avinu Shebashamayim. He is Malkeinu. He's Yedid Nefesh. He's the crying Shechina. A lot of different things going on. It's all one God, of course, right? But it's a lot of different things going on. And the heart, the only thing I can say is the heart gets it. The heart gets it. The heart gets it. And it's true. People, sometimes parents and grandparents burden the next generation like too much, you know, carry me on your piggyback all the time, you know. It's like, but I'm only 5, you know. It's like too much, you know. That you know.
I didn't this myself.
Baruch Hashem, I'm glad you're glad, yeah. But with Hashem, your heart will understand this. The heart, avodas shebalev, davening is the work of the heart. The heart, stretch your heart out. Your heart, like you do stretches, and your body feels better. You can connect all different parts of your body. Your heart has all different ways of relating to Hashem. And that's part of it's the davening. It works. It works. Don't let the mind, ask questions too much. You know, I'm not saying to throw away the mind. We always have our critical thinking, etc. But the mind understands that just like with people that you love, there's all different kinds of nuances and degrees and ways. Sometimes we're caretakers for each other. Sometimes we need it the other way, and you take care of me. Sometimes we're just partners. Sometimes there's all different kinds of ways we relate, and the heart understands this. The heart is built for that. It's made for that. We can do it. We can do it, right? Talmud continues. Whenever the holy worker had to yell at his children, he would walk up to them first and say, "Sit down, make yourself strong, because I have to yell at you." It's like I was saying about Mordechai Machlis, Shlita. In our generation, it's tzaddik. You should go to him for Shabbos. You know Rabbi Machlis? Oh, you gotta go. Anyway, you'll be in touch with me. I'll give you this information.
Okay.
Yeah, but Machlis has this open house. You know, he has like dozens of people every Friday night. You been to him? You gotta go. Also, everyone has to go. Mom, she's
Hundreds.
he's incredible. His Rebbetzin of Hashem. He's like the Avram Avinu of our generation. Just like Avram Avinu, Sarah passed away early, so the Rebbetzin Henny, Zatzal passed away also early. But they're still hosting. Yeah, he's Abrahamic. He's mamish incredible. And when I went there once to speak to him, and his I think it was his grandchild was like making noise on the couch, and he said to him like, David'l, you know I love you, right? He says, yeah, you know, right? I'm your Zaidi, I love you. He says, yes. David'l, you're making too much noise now. I need to go. For he started with like making sure that he shouldn't feel like, oh, Zaidi doesn't want me around. I love you, but you're making too much noise now. Right? So let's say Mendel would sit down for a few minutes and get very strong, and the worker would yell. So someone says, imagine what kind of holy education this is. It seems to me that the holy worker is telling his children, I have to yell at you because I'm your father, and I have to teach you. But I want to give you some time to prepare yourself so you can take it. Right? Gewalt. God is our Father. He wants to teach us. Sometimes he has to yell at us, knock us off. Because you know what the Rebbeinu Shalom did already when he created the world? He told Am Yisrael, I have to yell at you on Tisha B'Av. And God gave us time to make ourselves strong, so we could make it through, right? It's very deep. This is something also I've been learning with my friend Rabbi Raz. The Nakuda of Chatzot, right? The Nakuda of Chatzot. If you look in the Zohar HaKadosh and in the Gemara, the Nakuda of Chatzot is an Eit Ratzon. It's a time of tremendous propitious time. It's this time of connectivity, the deepest time of connectivity. It became a time for us to cry about the Mikdash because now our connectivity with Hashem is characterized by the destruction. But really, Chatzos was like this incredibly holy time from the beginning of creation. And what's underneath it is this love, this depth of connectivity. Because it's the deepest time of connectivity, so now that's the time we go there to cry. But underneath it, it's the connectivity itself that's really the essential nakuda of Chatzos. Really amazing. Really, really amazing. He's saying also, Tisha B'Av, at essence, in this depth, is this time of the deepest connectivity that the Babylonians, when they first destroyed the temple, the Gemara asks, what were the Kruvim looking at each other or not? And it says the Kruvim were embracing. They were so close. They were dafka unbelievably close. So that we'd be able to make it through. He says, Ayidula once came to Helig of Shishcher, asked for help. Yeah. It's a story about the Shishcher. Rav Simcha Bunim Shishcher was one of the great rabbis. I was zeicha to be in his shul in Pshisch. It was built by the great Temerel, the lady who brought Chassidus to Poland. Temerel of Krakow. Her husband was a businessman, but she metaphorically wore the pants in the family. She was the powerhouse lady. She brought Chassidus to Poland. She financed this shul. It's still standing. It's in disrepair. It's very, very broken, but you can still see the magnificence of the place when you go in there. I was able to play saxophone in there. I couldn't. It was like, you stand in there, your bones are like, wow. You know, the Pshisker was the Rebbe, the Vorker was here, the Kotzker was here, the Ishbitzer was here, the Chidush Arim, the first Rebbe of Ger was here, the Chanukh of Alexander, the first Rebbe of Alexander was here. All these unbelievable Rebbes were all here. The Yid HaKadosh came to visit. He was a friend of Simchat Bunim. This time you can stand in that shul. It's totally incredible. Tall, beautiful, magnificent. You can still feel, even in its disrepair, major disrepair, the magnificence of the space. Oh my gosh. And Simchat Bunim, he was an amazing person. He was very out of the box. He went to Germany. He learned how to be a pharmacist. He became like a professional pharmacist. He didn't wear a long coat like the other Rebbes. You'd have like all these Hasidim dancing around, all dressed very Hasidish, and in the middle, the Rebbe looked like a German Jew, like a short coat, like looked like a simple kind of guy, but he was everybody's Rebbe. He was Heilige of Simcha Bunim.
This is the Ger?
Simcha Bunim was the Rebbe of. The first Ger Rebbe was even two. He was in his base medrash, but he was everybody. Simcha Bunim was the top Rebbe of Poland, but he was more a chassid of the Kotzker, who was a Talmud of the Pshisker. So Yidzi says once came to Heilige Pshisker and asked for help, and the Rebbe saw right away that the man needed to clean up his act, but he couldn't get through to him. He also he knew there was this guy was really needed some big fixing, right? He needed the Rebbe to tell him some harsh stuff, right? But he saw that the guy's not going to be able to listen to that, right? He said, so the Pshisker said, let's play chess. And the Pshisker was an amazing chess player. He was a super brilliant person. And they start playing. About 2 minutes into the game, the Pshisker made a bad move. And he says, oh, please forgive me. I just wasn't paying attention. There's so much noise outside. It bothered me. Really, just don't count against me this time. Let me take that back, right? And the Yidl said, okay, but this is a game. If you make a mistake, that's it. 3 minutes later, the Pshisker made a big mistake. Put the other Yid in a very tremendous position. He said, look, I couldn't concentrate. I'm having so much trouble right now. My wife is sick. My grandmother's sick. And my mother-in-law. So the Yid said, there's rules to this game. You can't keep doing this. Pshisker did this 5 times. Oh, let me back. Let me do it. All right. Finally, the other Yid had enough. He said, listen, I can't play with you. So the Pshisker looks into his eyes. Says, tell me something. How many wrong moves in your life have you been making lately? That's scary. Right, but he couldn't tell him that. He had to use the game. You understand? He had to use this energy of connection. I'm with you. And I also make mistakes. And, right? Someone says, so Mitzad Echad, Tisha B'Av has this unbelievable love from the beginning of creation, this connectivity, this, on the other side, yeah, Hashem is sorry, but you're losing the temple now, Someone says, how long did we have to suffer before we could receive the Torah? How long were we slaves in Egypt? 210 years. How much suffering did we go through to get the Holy Land? So 2,000 years, and we still haven't finished yet. It says, can you imagine how deep the Torah of Eretz Yisrael is? How strong Revelation of Mashiach is? All of this suffering is worth it, right? Off the charts. I was at a chuppah a few months ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. I was zeicha to be the officiating rabbi of a chuppah for this couple. I'm not going to say their names right now, but they're, what's considered older, like in their mid-30s or something like that. And they're getting married. And the Kala, who'd been through a lot in her life, she took the microphone and she said, I just want to tell everybody that everything I went through, it was worth it. Out of this world. Totally broke my heart into a million pieces. Amazing, to be able to actually feel that way. So someone's saying, can you imagine how strong Revelation of Mashiach is, that all of this suffering is worth it? The holiness of the Pshisker story is to let you know, please don't think that during the destruction, Hashem isn't teaching me anything. The teaching of destruction is so strong, it has to get deeply into us. Someone says, you see what it is? For 40 years in the desert, we learned Torah, and then we came to the Holy Land. But our learning wasn't deep enough yet, because we went into exile for 70 years. We came back, and it still wasn't deep enough yet, and we were exiled again. Right now, we're mamish in the final stages before Mashiach, and we're starting mamish getting it. We are mamish getting it. Tisha B'Av is the one day on the highest level. Hashem is revealing to us the teaching of the destruction. It says, what's the holiness of the holy wall? It's so strange. It's just a broken wall. And yet you can see the holy temple. When you stand at the Kotel, you can mamish see the Beis HaMikdash. It isn't there, but we see it. Behind all the brokenness, you see the Beis HaMikdash. Therefore, it is so holy. Here's where we get to this thing about brokenness. Imagine we come to Jerusalem and lo and behold, there's this beautiful temple. It was just renovated by Max Cohen from Miami. He donated the paint and even had an interior decorator. The chief rabbi has his office on the first floor. It's our pride and joy. Such a beautiful building. Honestly, how touching would it be? Would you shiver when you went there? It says, do you understand why we shiver when we go to the holy wall? We shiver because it's broken. The Zohar Kodesh says that even when the holy temple is rebuilt, it will still be broken. This is what we started with. How could God take away the holiness of the brokenness? It says, you know what happened to the broken tablets when Moshe replaced them with the new ones? They stayed there. They were both there in the Holy Ark. The broken tablets and the whole tablets. Luchos v'shivrei luchos munachim ba'aron. Both the tablets and the broken tablets are placed in the Ark. It always has to be both. Broken and not broken together. Hashem reveals himself to broken people with a broken building. Oh, Chaim. So deep. So I'll just repeat for the Chevra who weren't here before. There's a Beraisa from Unkelus Hager, Unkelus the convert, that the Kruvim, the golden Kruvim in the Holy of Holies, how were they made? They're looking at each other, not looking at each other. So he says his own novel thing. Not that they're sometimes looking at each other when things are good or when things are bad, looking away. He says they're always almost looking away, but holding on to looking at each other. He says, like a student who's leaving their beloved teacher. And the Maharsha says, but they have to be built exactly the same. So it means like two friends who consider each other their teacher. And they can barely tear each other away from each other, right? The moment of the goodbye, there's a certain kind of a nostalgia of a brokenness that's not a bad brokenness. It's the most beautiful kind of brokenness. That as time goes, right? Baruch Hashem, I was zeichet to celebrate my 22nd anniversary a couple of Shabbos ago. And the most amazing thing was that we were able to go to Netanya, just us, without the kids, which was ridiculous. It was like a whole new stage for us. And it was mamish unbelievable. And thinking back, it's like, as amazing as it is now, there's also, we miss, it mixed into it is like missing those, the early days, and each stage of each kid, that they looked this way at this age and this way at that age, and we had this, and we lived in this apartment, and we lived in that apartment, and we're going, we're going to have Parshas Maseh next week, like all the journeys, and each one holds memories. And part of the whole thing of the creation of the world, as opposed to everything just remaining infinite, is that there's a timeline, there's a progression, and we have to say goodbye to the previous moment and hello to the next moment, and it's all beautiful and wonderful. But there's a brokenness within the wholeness, and a wholeness within the brokenness, because the relationship itself is so whole, and the moments are each like trua, they're each broken apart, right? But that brokenness itself is what makes the friendship. Like Rashi says, truas melech bo, trua also means friendship. Re'im, ahuvim, right? Trua comes the word friend. The friendship is built out of a whole lot of broken moments that all fit together. So beautiful. We can be broken together, right? It's so incredibly beautiful. And there's a tkiya before and a tkiya after, representing the wholeness that's always there surrounding that brokenness, right? But The yofi is that we can have both, right? We can have both. And the brokenness that we're learning to not just take things for granted, that our souls and Hashem with his unbelievable mercy and deepest love and pain is that he feels even is putting us through precisely each issue we have to deal with inside and outside, from the nations around us, from the families, from our physical bodies and our health, from our financial situations, from our all the different issues that we're dealing with in our lives. Precisely is teaching us our souls are building a little muscle to bring that brokenness with it into Mashiach. So that it won't just be a flat Mashiach. It will be a geula that can contain broken moments where we have to say goodbye, but we're so excited for the next time also, right? Within the wholeness of connectivity. Am I speaking Greek or it's making some sense? What was that?
We can even say
Deep
sorry
stuff
to
here,
Hashem.
yeah. Was that?
So we can even say sorry to Hashem for having to put us through, like he was talking about.
Yes.
I guess sometimes in Hebrew, like that's
Yeah.
supposed to be, you're going through something like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry you have to put me through this.
Oh,
Like a kid
that's-
saying to his dad,
That's so
you know,
beautiful.
like,
Wow, that's very beautiful. What's your name again?
Daniel.
Daniel. Gorgeous. Yeah.
There's a parallel that says, you know, the Mizmar, light your rakiach on Madi.
Yeah.
Right, same Chassidus, light you, like whatever. Don't be afraid. But what's the thing to be afraid of? What's bad? Ru ki atu remember that Hashem is with me. It's bad that
yes.
Hashem has pain, so Hashem is with me. Never.
I'm so sorry that you have to go through it. Exactly. It's like, you know, if I saw Gaval, you know, like, we were saying this on Monday night by the Purim Shir, like a mother brings her 4-year-old for the first time to nursery, you know, leaves the kid there, and sees another kid within the first 5 minutes come and whack their chocolate milk out of their hands, and her son's crying, right? And she's in the window, right? And she's also crying, but you can't just come in and fix it all for him, right? Because then she's taking away his development, you know, learning to deal with being a person, right? Gewalt.
I'm a mother that stayed.
Yeah.
I stayed for 5 months.
Oh wow, incredible. Yeah.
So I think at the core you're saying that we all have suffering, we all have brokenness,
Yes.
and man, people don't talk about this very much.
Yeah.
And there's something holy in that, and there's something connecting in that.
Yes. Yes, and something that we're gaining that you couldn't have had if you just would have stayed up in Shemayim. You're going to be able to bring that holiness of the brokenness forward, so that when Hashem lifts the curtain, it won't just become a static oneness. It'll be a dynamic relating within the oneness. Heavy duty. But we'll go further. See how Shlomo puts it. So he brings some examples of it. Yeah. So he brings some examples. He says, I heard in Babov that during the war, the Babov Rebbe was in the Jewish underground. This is crazy. I had no idea this. The Babov Rebbe was in the underground. As part of his underground job, he worked for a Polish officer who was a secretary to one of the top Nazi generals. So the Babov is working for a Polish officer who was a secretary for one of the top Nazi generals. He was flying around in helicopters overlooking the concentration camps. Babov Rebbe is up there. Wild. You can't imagine how he felt, right? Just so wacky. Then the craziest thing happened. One day he discovered one torn page of Masechta Sanhedrin, a page from the Gemara, in the Nazi general's garbage pail. He says, do you know what that means? One page. The mamish fell on the ground and covered the page. He says, I'm sure that on Simchat Torah, the Babov Rebbe had a very high holiday, but he said, the Babov Rebbe said, how does even Simchat Torah compare to the joy I felt when I found one page of the Gemara in the Nazi general's office, right? Crazy things we go through in this world, Hashem. Tisha B'Av is the time of torn pages, someone says. So Mom is begging you, treasure those holy pages, these broken things. Because a similar story happened in Siberia. On Simchat Torah there, the Yidden were so desperate, they wanted to rejoice, they had no Torah to dance with. Now listen to this. He says, it happened right after the war. The Yidden in Europe had so many Sfarim, so many holy books, but the Nazis, the Russians, they tore everything apart. We know this. After the war, one Russian officer in Siberia got a letter from his son, and the letter was in an envelope. Would you believe this envelope was made from a page torn out of a siddur? Because the Russians were like, they would just indiscriminately use Jewish books, right? Gewalt, the Russian officer didn't know what the envelope was made from, so he threw it away. And a Yiddish discovered it lying on the ground, a thrown away envelope with just a few lines from a siddur. He couldn't believe his eyes. He brought the envelope to all the Yidden. You know what they did, Simchas Torah? Everybody had the great privilege of standing in the middle of a circle holding this envelope with a few lines of a siddur in it. Everyone else dancing around them. With all the other Yidden dancing around them. Goosebumps. What? Yeah.
The same thing with Hashem. Like, even like people that are not that close, but if they have an artistic condition, they're like so close to Hashem. Like
How precious they are.
Like Hashem's like holding that little, but like very big. Like
Right.
thing,
Hashem
like,
is holding
dancing in
our
circles.
tiny achievements. Yes. Wow, that's so beautiful. Oh, on Tisha B'Av, he says, as strange as it may seem, we have a chance to connect ourselves to the utmost pain of the Churban Beis HaMikdash, and also on Tisha B'Av, to connect ourselves to the utmost joy of Mashiach's being born. The one says Mashiach's birthday is Tisha B'Av.
So you have to be happy and sad at the same time.
Yeah, mamish. Your heart can do it. I have a friend of mine, his name is Mishael, and his father's name is David, and he was born on Tisha B'Av. So we have to find it Misha ben David. But in any case, as much as Tisha B'Av is about its destruction, there's the strongest message of redemption within the pain. This is hinted to in the letter Tes. The letter Tes, Tisha B'Av, the ninth. How is it hinted at in the letter? Right? The shape of the letter Tes is mostly closed, but has one little opening at the top, right? And then it goes across, but doesn't touch, right? The little opening at the top. This teaches us, even if we think we're totally closed up, there's always a little opening on top pointing towards heaven, right? Tes, also, 9, is the minimum amount of sounds for the teruah, for the broken sound. It's to be 9 blasts. 9 also, Reb Nosson brings Gutei Lachas, 9 is the largest number. Because once you get to 10, it's the 1 in the tens, right? So 9 represents multiplicity, the most multiplicity, like the brokenness. That's why the broken sound. It's the Tisha B'Av, the 9th. And yet, within that brokenness, there's a little opening, pointing to Shemayim. Someone just pours it on. We'll do a little bit more, but I have to go because I have to go to a different area in Beit Shemesh to get to my car, to get home, to change, and then drive an hour to go to a chuppah. Baruch Hashem, like, those are my troubles. But Tisha B'Av is the yard site of Reb Shlomo Molcho. There's a great rabbi called Reb Shlomo Molcho. Someone doesn't mention it here, but I know that he wrote something. 1 second. Let me just see if I can find it. The 16th century Portuguese Jewish mystic and messianic figure. Mastered the Kabbalah, was burned at the stake, right? That's what we're going to learn about. And I think he wrote something. He studied Kabbalah under Rabbi Yosef Taitazak. He became very close and heavily influenced Rabbi Yosef Cairo, the author of the Shulchan Aruch, and of Shlomo Alkabetz, the one who wrote Perish on the Megillah that we've been learning, the one who wrote L'Chadodi. I guess he didn't. I guess we don't have a book from him. 1 second, let me see. Did he write a book? So cool to be able to just ask and find anything. It's so amazing. Did he write anything? Yes, several books in Kabbalah. Sefer HaMefoar, the glorious book. That's sermons. Chayas Kaneh, of mystical visions that he had in dreams. Wow. And there's some letters. Kisver Shlomo Molcho, Sefer Likutei Molcho. That's a book I think I once heard of. Sefer Likutei Molcho. Any case, the Shlomo says about him. Shlomo Molcho, his yahrzeit is Tisha B'Av. We can think about him this year, Tisha B'Av. Came from a family of Maranos. That means Jews who had to pretend to be Christians. He was raised Catholic and trained, and he grew and he became a bishop. That's a very high level in the church. When he was 21 years old, his father called him in and revealed to his son that they were actually Yidden. So Molcho was still officially a monk, but secretly he began to learn Torah. Then in a few years he became a great Kabbalist, and secretly he became engaged to a girl who was also a Marano, a secret Jew. When this Reb Shlomo was 26 years old, he decided to go to Rome. This is the most wild thing in the world, to tell the Pope to stop the Inquisition. Because he still somehow was, I guess, people still thought of him as a bishop. He was still managing to keep the secret off the charts. So maybe he'll be able to mamtik the din of the Inquisition off the charts. Before he left for Rome, he gave his bridal letter, which is mamish incredible. I guess we have the letter in Likutei Shlomo Molcho. He said to the wife, "Please bless me to come back, and please bless me to have the privilege of saving the lives and the neshamas of brothers and sisters. But if I don't come back," and this is wild, it says, "I want you to know I'll come back every Friday night to make kiddush for you." Meaning, even if I die, right, I'll come back in spirit form. Which the Gemara describes that there was one of the great sages of the Gemara who did that. Pretty wild. Rare occurrence. Rav Shlomo Molcho lived in Rome. It took a while to get the audience with the Pope. Arrived in Rome. It took a while to get audience with the Pope. He waited. Finally, they told his audience was set for Tisha B'Av. Rav Shlomo thought that was a good sign, because Tisha B'Av is the day that Mashiach is born. Right? So Tisha B'Av, he arrived for his audience. He walked in and said to the Pope, "I'm a Spanish monk, but really, I'm a Marano, and I've returned to being Jewish." And that was just his opening lines. The Pope immediately said, "What? You're a monk and you return to Yiddishkeit?" The Pope rang a bell. Not the bell that you want to hear. They grabbed him, they took him on the marketplace, threw him into the fire right there on the spot. Unbelievable. Shlomo says, it's amazing, shocking, really, to think about everything that happened on the saddest of days on Tisha B'Av. Before we entered the Holy Land, we'd sent 12 spies. One from every tribe.
That was on Tisha B'Av?
Yeah. They came back on Tisha B'Av. The night they came back was Tisha B'Av, and people started crying. This was the beginning. It says, but the sadness didn't end there. Twice the Holy Temple was destroyed on this day. The Inquisition was decreed on this day. The First World War began on Tisha B'Av. The Second World War, the first time Germany declared war and sent a message to Poland to surrender, was on Tisha B'Av. It's unbelievable, it's still in the air, but for us Tisha B'Av will always be about the Holy Temple. At the time of its destruction, the blood ran from Jerusalem all the way down to the Jordan River. We don't know exactly how many people were living in Jerusalem at the time, but they killed many, many thousands. Some say millions. We have no idea. It all traces back to the spies. Everything started then. So why did it start? So this is Shlomo Mamish breaking our hearts. He says it's all because 10 people said something bad. He says, if you walk down the street, you'll notice many, many people, let's say half the world, that their light is destroyed. Sadly, most people are only the shadows of their own soul, a shadow of what they were and what they could have been. If you start investigating, going back to the roots of their lives, of their history, most probably you'll find, how did that happen? Why are they all shadows? One person said something bad to them, right? That's how it all started. Right? Just like Tisha B'Av began with the spies speaking badly about Israel, all of our light gets turned off by the hard things that we say to each other, all of the destruction, and we need to heal it on Tisha B'Av. It would be so good to just keep going for hours. It's such good Torah. But thank God I have to go to a wedding. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Thoughts or questions before we go?
Are you going to be teaching before?
Tomorrow night will be a year.
Oh.
7:30. 7 here, yeah, Purim. And Wednesday at 12. All same place. Good to see you, Hannah. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Yeah. Oh. Send me. Can you WhatsApp me the name? WhatsApp me the name. It's Hashem. Send it to me so I have it. Bez Hashem, like believe later. I'm very forgetful person. Bez Hashem will ask him. Yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah,
Last week
yeah.
you said that I think you mentioned it as a side point, but you made a comment that we have to first learn something about Hashem that you described have a wrong perceived notion, let's say a more surface level, then to be able to unlearn that. Something we need to learn something the wrong way, kind of, to then be able to unlearn and learn what it truly is. So I'm curious, why is that? Why?
Oh, why is that?
Why do we need to have perceptions of Hashem you described and be it's not black and white, it's not a checklist, it's not so extreme, it's a relationship, it's a cultivation of that.
That is the $1 million question. Because what it really is why do we need process?
Nice.
It's all process is all about that, sifting out the real. Chazal say, you can't understand certain levels of Torah without first getting them wrong.
Nice.
That's a Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Kuf Chaf, page 120. So why does it have to be that way? Hashem could have made the world no pain, gain, right?
Nice.
But he didn't. It's something deeper that I don't know if there's a real logical answer to it.
No, yeah.
That we have to just believe and trust that Hashem made the best possible world. That same way is the best possible world, that we should have hands and feet and eyes and not purple tentacles, which he could have, or wings, or who knows. This is the way that is the best way for him to be made known and for us to build a relationship with him.
Nice.
Kacha.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Second question is more in terms of Mashiach, of especially if you grew up religious, you hear a lot of stories. Chavetz Chaim, everybody was always oh, now's the time where Mashiach's going to come. Now's the time where Mashiach's going to come. Especially as a climax is the Holocaust. It's what?
No, yeah.
So kind of that cynical voice, or that voice that's been hurt. Mashiach's going to come, and then nope. So then, even when I hear now, it's right before, it's Erev Shabbos, the last hour, it's the last generation before Gula. So I feel that voice comes up because didn't everybody see them until now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, with you. Shlomo says that which Rebbe? I think which Rebbe was it? I don't remember now. Maybe Alexander Rebbe. When Tisha B'Av, he stuck his head out the window. He said, "Hashem, if you don't bring Mashiach really soon, nobody's going to even care anymore. we're getting fed up, But it's a deep question that you're asking.
Some people say it's not right to say that.
Yeah. So in other words, it's all in how you say it. It has to come from the heart, But the bottom line is that it's like a cholent. It's everything comes down to cholent. That on the one hand, I want to eat the cholent. On the other hand, the longer it cooks, the better it tastes. Chaim, I'm sorry, I got ahead of you. This is such a very heavy.
Reb Levish, I just wanted to comment on Aryeh's question. I think it was Aryeh that asked about the process, and it's almost like we have this paradigm of Moshe breaking the luchos. That I think one Mepharsh says that Moshe broke the luchos to be Malam B'Tzchus on Bnei Yisrael, so that Hashem shouldn't destroy them.
Right.
So
good point.
right. So you can use that as a way to sort of understand this needing to be broken in order to really gain the depth of what the quality, the essence is, the Atzmos,
That's a beautiful picture. It's a beautiful picture of this dynamic. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Mommy's got to go.
Be well, Mazel.